can be an entrepreneur. Uh, it doesn't necessarily need to be a technology startup the way we define it in today's parlance, but I mean, even a person who is doing some sort of a trading business is an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is somebody who manages his available resources to create value, create jobs, and in the process create wealth, and delivers some value to his whichever market he is catering to. That is basically the definition of an entrepreneur. And I believe in today's world there is this concept of intrapreneurs, which a lot of large companies try to champion. But I guess people, by their very nature, some people are highly entrepreneurial. Not all entrepreneurial people become entrepreneurs, and not all people who are entrepreneurs have ever thought that they will become an entrepreneur. So there are a lot of scenarios, but yeah.
Yes, I'll pick up the thread from there. Entrepreneurship is interesting. In our parlance today, people want to do different things. And today, the society and the setup is such that we get a lot of opportunities to go out and do what we want to do, or make that impact. Earlier, probably it wasn't there. So I believe with the resources available today, trying to do things on your own and making a value for others is coined as being an entrepreneur. And if you're able to do well, like Richik rightly said, if you're able to create value for people, give employment, and in the return, create wealth, I think that's pretty interesting part of being an entrepreneur, or championing entrepreneurship. I studied in Lucknow. My schooling was in Lucknow. I did my undergraduation from Lucknow, moved to Delhi, did my MBA from Amity Business School, and then I've been working for the last 6 years before Poshvine happened.
Early part of my, formative years of my life I spent in Calcutta, but from an early age I was in hostels and boarding schools. And then I did my undergraduation from NIT Calicut. Then I worked for a year, and then I did my MBA from Accelerate Jamshedpur. And after that I worked for about 6.5 years in about 3 companies before I joined Poshvine full time.
I come from a business background, but interestingly my father is a first generation business entrepreneur, and my grandfather was in railways, and he migrated from Pakistan in 1947. So it's a very mixed background I come from.
Yeah. There's nobody in the last 20 generations in my family who has been in business. Everybody throughout has been in service.
So we decided to start Poshvine. This was here in 2010, and the idea was who will quit first. So then we took a mutual call that I've always been a part of startups. I worked with Naukri, worked with a consulting firm, worked with Ozone Media, and I said, okay, I've seen startups more. Let you be the backbone of Poshvine. Let me be the go-to person. So that's how we decided. Obviously, he was earning more than I was at that point in time. So I quit my job first, and then it took him almost a year to get convinced that this is our calling. And then he quit his job and then he came on board full time.
See, the thing is, given the kind of upbringing we have had, and given the kind of communities and environments that I have been associated with, this is not an alien concept to us anymore, right? Especially people who have been exposed to these communities, especially in a networked world like ours, where you know pretty much all the new concepts that are coming up, and the way you can actually create value, you can identify the need gaps and all. After that, it's so I think there is no dearth of information available for anybody to take the plunge into entrepreneurship. But to some extent, where probably a background helps, is to take that courage to take that first leap, right? I actually delayed my decision by almost a year. No. Everybody said best of luck, and everybody, to be fair, to be honest, everybody has been extremely supportive. As I said, the situation, I think, is very, very different from what it used to be about 10 years back, or even 5 years back, maybe. Right now, there is at least more in Bangalore compared to in other cities, there is a proper startup ecosystem. People understand what it means. People do not scoff at you, even your families. I mean, I don't come from a business family, but my family never had any issues of me leaving a cushy job and getting into a seemingly uncertain future. Yeah, seemingly uncertain future, and they have supported us throughout.
And it has been a very interesting thing, like Richik said, what it was 10 years ago. People, I mean, being on your own was not so easy. Today we have seed funds, we have people believing in us, putting either capital or trust or are ready to mentor us. It wasn't there earlier. So that's a lot of support we get from the ecosystem today, the startup ecosystem, plus families have to support us really. So both the families have been very, very encouraging, and I believe the ride has been good so far.
Poshvine started off as a destination to discover and book unique foodie experiences. So, for instance, we have been avid travelers, and even when we came to Bangalore, first few months we used to explore different places where you get interesting food options and interesting stuff, interesting things to do around food. And we always used to have a problem in identifying the most authentic destinations, identifying the best places to eat this kind of food, etc., etc. And that's one of the needs that we wanted to solve, and that's how we started Poshvine. Once we started Poshvine, the way we did is we became a platform where we associated ourselves with premium restaurants, reservation taking premium restaurants, and you can come and make an online reservation through our platform and you get some insider benefits. And it is a completely real-time demand supply management, so the control is with the restaurant owner. He decides when to take reservation, how to take reservation, how many reservations to take, and all of that. That was how we started off, and we saw initial success and traction in that. And then we realized that our target audience is actually asking for even more authentic experiences and interesting things to do. So we have expanded our offerings, and we currently are a marketplace to discover, book, and offer unique things to do and fantastic experiences that help you enrich your life and that help you discover a city or a destination in a much more authentic way.
So formally I'm known as the growth manager, but I do a bit of operations, I do your uploading, all the back-end work, and I do experience development. I've done my BBM from CMS. It's really nice. I was working in an IT company previously, and I worked there for like 5 months and I quit because I couldn't do the whole formal way of working. And food is something I love, so that's when I happened to meet Garima and Richik. And then I started off, I gave an interview and they loved it because again I loved food, they loved food. That was the whole basis of joining here. And we started off, it has been brilliant, lots and lots to learn in a startup when compared to an IT company where everything's basically presented to you at the table, and here you're even taking your printouts on your own, running up and down 10 times. No one's doing it for you, so there's a vast difference in what I've done before and what's there. See, Richik has an eye for detail that none of us have. What I've seen, he can catch, he knows what has to go up and what doesn't. He just knows what's right and what's not. So he has an eye for detail like nobody else does, in the team at least. And Garima can talk. She can convince anyone. So if we can't get people to sign up, can't do this, all of us just pass the phone along to her and she's doing 20 calls for us in the day, and the next thing you know, that person's on board. So she has brilliant sales skills, if I can say, and Richik has an eye for detail.
So what do you do when you're in this particular city, when you have time? So either you go watch a movie, you go and dine out, or you spend time with your friends and family. What beyond that? There are so many more and interesting things to be done today. And we believe, and there are individuals and companies and organizations who are providing those experiences, but we believe that market is very, very fragmented. So what does a person do when he wants to do things beyond the realm of eating out, watching a movie and spending time with the family? He goes on Googles, he finds out what are the things to do in town, or he reads his newspapers, classifications, and understand what is to be done, what is happening in the city today or tomorrow. And then he tries to figure out, he makes those calls, he understands and he figures out the price points or the activities and so on and so forth. That's when we realize that what if we bring all of this information together, interesting things to do in a particular city on our platform where users can just come on our website and see what can be done. So we're trying to solve that problem in the leisure space where people want to do interesting things. They come to us and we give them the solution.
Right now we have taken a web first strategy. We are adopting a web first strategy. We will have our mobile app which will come out in due time. But right now we are focused on the web.
We are in Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, 5 cities currently. But I think in another week's time we will be in 10.
Let's say in Delhi, old Delhi, you want to do a really behind the scenes food walk.
Like, you want to go to Nizamuddin Dargah, you want to visit that, you want to have a Qawwali session there, attend a Qawwali session, followed by a meal.
Right? So that thing, you will not get it free. You can read all the information free. But if you really want to avail that experience, and that experience is
provided
not
by
possible just by yourself. Somebody is enabling that experience.
Somebody is guiding you for that experience.
Somebody is guiding you for that experience. So you go, you book, you will have to book that experience. So you book that experience by paying that amount, whatever that guide or the host has specified. Our target audience is people who have access to smartphones, internet, and if you look at the overall urban population in India, we are targeting the top end of the spectrum. We are targeting the real rich and the aspiring affluents. So people who on an average earns 8 lakhs per annum or more. That's our target audience. Our company's name is Poshvine. We are a little curated. We are a little choosy about the experiences that go on our platform. And our target audience are people who want a better life in terms of luxury and in terms of unique experiences. So the vision for Poshvine is to become a global leader in terms of tours, activities and interesting things to do. And a true blue marketplace where people can get connected to authentic people through unique experiences. So it's an online platform which enables offline networking through these experiences, and the way we foresee is we want to become a global leader in this.
And also this market is very, very fragmented today across the globe. We want to, at least in the first phase, we want to consolidate the market in the country, which should take us a couple of years.
See, it doesn't work in a linear way. We start off from one end, and every day the business setup and the business plan evolves. Right? The more people we interact with, the more with every step we take in the business to move forward, newer opportunities open up, newer challenges come up. So it's an ever evolving and ever changing set. It's not a set plan that will be there for
B will happen, if B will happen, C will happen. Unfortunately, life is not so, in a streamline. See, when we started, it was a fairly new business idea, and the adoption from the merchant side took us a little time. It took us 6 months. 6 months for people to understand us and use our services or partner with us. Once that happened, so that was challenge A that we were able to settle. Challenge B was funds, because obviously e-commerce business is very, very capital intensive, where you have to invest in technology, you have to invest in gateways, you have to invest in team, office, and returns are not so quick. So how do we manage funds? So that was another big challenge. Okay, we were able to raise a small seed round of funding where we had an investor on board who were ready to help us with the mentorship and the money. Then the next challenge was, how do we scale up?
Cash flow. How do we achieve positive
cash flows? So once, then we decided, unit level wise we'll be able to break even month on month. Then the next challenge is, how do we see the hockey stick grow? So it's an unending process. So probably once we reach there, then we'll see, how to optimize the cost versus the cash flow versus the inflow. So that's where we are.
I'm a voracious reader, and I'm a voracious stickler for whatever the audience is telling us, either directly or indirectly. And I think that's something from where we can learn and improve. So criticism is always welcome, as long as it is constructive. And I don't think there is any other kind of criticism even available, and I don't think people indulge in those kind of.
They don't
it's
have the
always
time.
it's always constructive and it always helps.
And
us.
it's always, we take it as a feedback. So whenever we've got a criticism, we've always taken it as a feedback, trying to understand that if is there a place that we faltered or is there a place where we can do better. And we've always, taken that feedback seriously and tried working towards making it positive so that next time that same criticism doesn't come back to us, or same feedback doesn't come back to us. I think persistence, don't give up. Whatever you do, just keep at it. If you're lucky, like Richik said, success will come to you in 2 years. If you're slightly hard stuck for luck, maybe 5 years. And if you're really unlucky, success will take 10 years to come to you. So just keep at it.
So that is one, but the other thing, I think it is important to stick to what
You believe in.
And it's another word for persistence. And there will be a lot of, there's some cases where you need to take decisions when everybody else is saying that you should not do this, but you need to back your instincts and guts and say that okay, probably you need to do this. And there are some times when everybody else feels that we should do this and you need to say no to that. So those are the things which are very important. So
I think that comes with age and experience. I don't think so. In today's scenario, we women get a lot of respect with people, and people encourage us really. So I don't think it is a deterrent at all to be a woman entrepreneur. Absolutely not. I think there's a lot of encouragement that comes our way.
no, they're doing. I mean, in fact, in the last 2 years, if you see, there has been a humongous level of growth with the Tata NEN Foundation, and recently NASSCOM has announced its 10,000 startups by 2020 initiative.
That's a brilliant initiative.
And availability of incubation capital or seed capital and
the mentorship.
Even mentorship capital. I think a lot of things are happening in a positive way, and yes, you cannot compare a developing country to a developed country. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I think Bangalore has been voted as one of the top 20 startup capitals of the world. And similarly, overall entrepreneurship ecosystem is growing by leaps and bounds across the country. So I think everybody is doing their bit. The only problem is investors have not seen attractive exits so far. But otherwise, and that will also happen, but otherwise I think the industry is moving in the right direction.
I've been associated with them for about 8 months. I take care of their sales and marketing, so I take care of their pan-India sales, launching of new markets, business development and stuff like that. I'm an engineer, a computer engineer, but I did my MBA in Christ, and post that worked for about 1.5 years elsewhere, and then joined Poshvine. See, both of them, they're inspiring, they're awe-inspiring. See, the thing is, I've been associated with them since the time they started, and it's like there's so much to learn every single day from the both of them, especially Garima's perseverance to get new business, and Richik's innovativeness of the way he promotes, the way he looks at things itself is completely different. It helps you to think out of the box. Like I was working with a bigger firm before, right? It was an MNC kind of a thing. You don't really have the opportunity to think out of the box, and these guys give you that, right? They give you opportunities to explore different avenues of working environment, right? So I've been given the opportunity to do marketing, PR, sales. So that's the opportunity that you don't really get elsewhere. That's about it. I mean, it's like in a bigger company, you tend to kind of get stagnant over a period of time. Here it's every day you're innovating yourself, you're thinking of different things. You get bored of doing one thing, you can do something else. So there's always, you're on your toes, kind of working towards. So there's nothing called boredom here. You really look forward to coming to office every single morning, as against your previous companies. See, my personal opinion is, as of now, I mean, at least us, the 25, 30 guys, I don't think money should matter as much. Money can be made anytime. But that experience that you get in a startup is something that you never get anywhere else. I mean, as compared to MNCs, at least, no ways, because, there you're given set things to do, your learning ends there. But here you're learning daily, you're talking to people, interacting, you're doing your own research, you're making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and again making some more to learn again. Right? So there's just learning, which over a period of time, I think holds greater weightage than any money that you've probably earned. Those extra few thousands, it really wouldn't matter. It's that learning that would take you really probably leaps and bounds.
You have an idea, you believe in it, don't keep ideating, go ahead, quit your job, start a venture, maybe you fail once, start again, and keep persisting. Be persistent, success will come to you. It took us 2 years to come here, hopefully another 2 years we'll be at a better place, but being on your own is a great feeling. Giving employment to others is a beautiful feeling. Ensuring that you have money in your bank account to pay for your expenses gives you nightmares, but ultimately it's not bad, it's a good journey.
It's the same feedback from me also. I think what entrepreneurs need to do is very quick cycles of, if they have an idea, test the idea, start it. Early failures is more important than thinking over a long period of time and then doing it and then failing. I think a quick failure rate is more important, so don't be afraid, just go and do it.